Hello there, thank you for joining us once again. My name is Matt with the National Tile Contractors Association. The NTCA is talking about safety, and there's a lot of different aspects to safety when it comes to working within the tile industry. And so this morning, Mark talked to us a lot about OSHA and silica and how all of that plays a role within the tile industry. And one of the things that Mark talked about this morning was this drawing that he has up here. It's called Table 1. If you were here this morning, he explained all of this. And what Table 1 does is it explains how much time you can use a tool for and still be safe with the exposure to the dust that you're creating. Does that make sense to everybody? So we're talking about things like cutting tile, we're talking about grinding, whether it's tile, cement board, concrete. All of these things create dust. And so right now, here, one of our last sessions for the day, we're talking about something called engineered control devices. And these are all tools that are used to help reduce that exposure to silica. And there's a couple different ways that these tools work, most of them using either a vacuum, a HEPA vacuum, or water. And so I'm gonna kind of go one by one, and I want to just point out some of the features of all of these different tools that you can use and reduce the risk of silica exposure. So the first one that I have, this is a 4.5-inch grinder, and this is like a rail saw for tile. So you can buy extensions to this rail. It can be at least double the size of this rail. So it can do, I believe it's up to a 10, maybe a 12-foot cut. But it simply rides on this rail. And then what makes it so safe is you notice that there's a water hose connected to it here. And so that water hose connects right above the blade and it sprays everything down just like a wet saw would. We're taking a grinder and essentially we're turning it into a wet saw by spraying water all over it. Now, if you wanted to turn this into a dry saw, this machine is capable of doing that as well. On the back side of it, it has a vacuum port. So this device can either be used wet or dry. And so that, again, talking engineered control devices. Second one is a similar tool, and this is a variable speed grinder. We could polish stone with this, but this polisher does not have a water feed, so this is a kit that you can buy that has a water feed system attached to it. So we're taking a dry tool that was designed to be used dry, and we're adding an accessory piece, turning it into an engineered control device, reducing the dust once again. Let me point out one last saw. This is another saw. It can be used freehand, but again, it's got the water hose connected to it. And this one, they have an additional track that you can buy. So a little bit different of a style, more of that skill saw type style of a saw versus a grinder. You can also put this one on a track, but I'm gonna hand that to you. And that kind of covers all of our wet stuff, Mark. Okay. So those are all the wet tools that we brought out. And I don't wanna spend a ton of time talking about those because we're tile guys. We all own a wet saw. We all run a wet saw, so it's pretty easy to understand what the water is doing.